This week, on Decoded Origins, were the Phoenicians actually a race of giants? Was historical architecture built for and by giants? Real written accounts of discovered giant bones and the mystery of the giant of Bucart, decoded. Let's get started. The giants of antiquity have long been the stuff of legend and lore, shrouded in mystery and intrigue. From the ancient Greek and Roman myths of Titans and Cyclops to the mysterious statues and megalithic structures found around the world, the idea of giant beings that once walked the earth has captivated the imagination of people for centuries. But who were these giants and what was their purpose? Were they simply the stuff of myth and legend, or did they truly exist? And if so, what kind of advanced technology and knowledge did they possess? The Phoenicians have been surrounded by many theories that suggest that they had more knowledge and technology than is traditionally believed. Some theories suggest that the Phoenicians were able to navigate the globe and had access to advanced knowledge of astronomy, mathematics, and engineering. Researchers claim the Phoenicians were responsible for many of the architectural and technological achievements of ancient civilizations. Is it possible that the Phoenicians themselves were giants? Is there any evidence to support this theory? Are there any historical accounts of a race of giants? If so, what do they say? There are a few historical accounts of giants as recently as the 19th century. One of the most famous is from England in the late 1800s, when a group of miners reportedly discovered the skeleton of a giant measuring over 9 feet tall. There have also been reports of an Irish giant in the 19th century, as well as several other accounts of large human-like creatures. What evidence is there that 19th century buildings and cathedrals were built by and for a race of giants? There are some theories that suggest that certain features of these buildings may have been designed to accommodate a much larger population than what was living at the time. For example, many cathedrals are said to have been built with unusually large doors and windows that may have been designed to accommodate a larger group of people. We are going to read several excerpts directly from a book entitled Curiosities of Natural History. The book was published in the year 1900 by Francis Buckland of London. There are a few interesting documented stories of the discovery of giants and the bones of giants. The book provides several incredible accounts and well-documented accounts.
Even at the present day, the belief in bones of giants dug out of the earth is by no means extinct. For a gentleman sent me a tooth of a fossil horse when M. Bryce was in London and asked if it was not a Grant's tooth. I showed it to my friend Bryce, the French giant, and we had a hearty laugh when we made the comparison of the horse's tooth with one of his own. According to an ancient scientific work, in the medicine school at Leiden is a prodigious front or frontal bone of a giant, measuring 9 inches transversely, in the convex way 12 inches. A figure is given of this bone alongside that of a man of ordinary stature. After giving many details, the describer of this bone goes on to say, whence it must follow that the man to whom this bone belonged was more than twice the height that men usually are, according to the common course of nature, that is, more than 11 or 12 feet high.
Another interesting excerpt reads,
with reference to the discovery of gigantic human skeletons, Mr. Bartlett tells me the following curious and interesting story. An Irish labourer once told him that he had discovered the skeleton of a giant in an Irish bog. He described it as placed on its back. The backbone, the legs and arms were, he stated, quite perfect, and also that, in his opinion, these bones must have been the remains of a person not less than 17 feet high.
The stories are numerous and continue with intrigue. There are several other publications in the early 19th century that gave actual reports of giants. To quote a Canaseraga Times article of 1906,
At ruin in 1509, in digging in the ditches near the Dominicamo, there was found a stone tomb containing a skeleton whose shin bone reached up to the girdle of the tallest man there, being about 4 feet long, and consequently the body must have been 17 or 18 feet high. Upon the tomb was a plate of copper upon which was engraved, "In this tomb lies the noble and puissant lord, the Chevalier Rouen de Valemorn, and his bones." There is, indeed, evidence in the ponderous armor and two-handed swords which remain to us in museums to prove that the knight of the ages of chivalry was a heroic specimen of human architecture. Platerins, a famous physician, declared that he saw at Lucan the true human bones of a subject who must have been at least 19 feet high. Valence, in Dauphine, boasts of possessing the bones of the giant Bucart, tyrant of the Vivarais, who was slain by an arrow by the Count de Cabillon, his vassal. The Dominicans had an inscription showing that this giant was 22 and 1/2 feet high, and that his bones were found in the year 1705 near the banks of the Modri.
Proponents of this theory point to the sheer size and grandeur of these structures as evidence of their origin. For example, the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is believed to have been built around 2560 BC, is said to have been constructed by the pharaoh Khufu, who was said to have been a giant. Similarly, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is said to have been built by a race of giants because of its immense size and complexity. The Giant of Bucart is a statue located in the small village of Bucart, Tunisia. The statue, which is believed to be of Phoenician origin, depicts a giant man with a height of around 7 meters, 23 feet. The statue is made of local limestone and is believed to date back to the 5th century BCE. There are several theories surrounding the Giant of Bucart. One theory is that the statue is not of Phoenician origin, but rather of an ancient civilization that predates the Phoenicians. Or perhaps, is it just that the Phoenicians are older than we know? Proponents of this theory argue that the statue bears resemblance to other megalithic structures found in various parts of the world, suggesting that the civilization that created it had a widespread influence. They also suggest that the statue is a representation of a god, or a king of this ancient civilization, and that it was created to commemorate their power and prestige. Another theory is that it is not a statue at all, but rather a petrified human being. Some theorists argue that the statue is the result of an ancient form of advanced technology that allowed the ancients to turn living beings into stone. They suggest that the statue is a representation of a real person who was turned to stone as a form of punishment, or to preserve their body for eternity. A third theory is that it is a representation of an extraterrestrial being. Some researchers argue that the statue bears resemblance to depictions of ancient gods and deities and suggest that the statue is evidence of ancient contact between the Phoenicians and extraterrestrials. Others have suggested that these giants were part of an ancient civilization who had access to technology that enabled them to build such impressive structures. The fact that these structures remain standing today despite the passing of time and the ravages of war is often used as evidence of the giants' capabilities. The giants of antiquity have captivated the imagination of people for centuries. From the ancient Greek and Roman myths to the mysterious statues and megalithic structures found around the world, the idea of giant beings that once walked the earth has been a subject of fascination and debate. While many theories have been proposed about the origins and meaning of these giants, the truth remains shrouded in mystery. The Phoenicians have been surrounded by many theories that suggest that they had more knowledge and technology than is traditionally believed. The true origins of the giants of antiquity may never be fully known, but one thing is certain. The mystery and intrigue surrounding these ancient beings will continue to capture the imagination of people for centuries to come. Stay tuned for more next time. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up icon. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos.